YouTube! Hello. Welcome to a tier list. We're going to be ranking every single fandom with my Twitch chat who is watching. Now, I need to make this absolutely clear like I did to them like 10 seconds ago. I do not claim any of these people. These are, uncontrollable chatters that will say really weird stuff and possibly stuff that will make you upset. So, when you're watching this tier list, which I'll explain in a second, please take what they say with a grain of salt. They will say stuff. It might make you mad. I do not claim them. I am not responsible for what they'd say, okay? I'm just making that absolutely clear now. Because we are tier listing K-pop fandoms. Every single one that is on this list, it is what? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. It is 47, I think 46 different fandoms. However, here's like the twist, I guess. The spicy twist. I am tier listing this based on my own experience. I've been a K-pop content creator, if you want to call it that. I've been doing K-pop videos on YouTube in some form since late 2015. So it's coming up on 10 years. It's like 9.5 years. I've been interacting with various different fandoms, everything from second gen to modern day where I'm still making YouTube videos, right? So I have what I would like to assume is a pretty unique experience where I personally engage with people coming to me when I'm talking about their favorite group. And it gives me a bit of a different perspective. So this tier list is purely based on my own experiences. I am not factoring in when the fandom in general does something toxic. As somebody pointed out in chat earlier, for example, NCTzens sleeping on the sidewalk for 2 days before the start of the tour because they are quote-unquote crazy to the point where Do-young is going out and being like, y'all stink, go home and shower or something. I'm not factoring that in to my placements. This is purely on my experience with them. Because of that, I might be putting some fandoms differently than you. And that is okay. Please tell me your experiences with these fandoms down in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. And unless chat reminds me of something that I am forgetting, I think that's all for the intro. So let's get into what these tiers actually are. So we have this split off into 6 different tiers. We'll start at the top, work our way down. Amazing fandom. This is basically like at least like 99% positive experiences. I cannot think of a bad experience I had engaging with this fandom. That's who goes here, right? This is like overwhelmingly positive things. Good fandoms. Pretty good is a step down from that. Obviously, like, overall in general, good experiences. I've had good interactions. I've had good times with. But, there's, enough bad apples to make me have a little, worry in my head at least, right? Like, in general, I like them. I like engaging with this fandom, but I've experienced some of those bad apples. Every fandom has, but these ones I just haven't seen as much. Now, this one's going to get a little bit confusing. This middle tier is neutral, no interactions, right? So it's one of two things. I will either have like a mid opinion of them, right? They aren't all the way up. They aren't all the way down. They're somewhere in the middle. I've had good reactions. I've had bad reactions. It gives me this neutral, not good, not bad vision on them. But at the same time, this tier, I've also had no interactions with. So if you are curious about a group that's going to be in this tier, make sure you go to that certain section. I'll have it timestamped down below. And make sure that it's either neutral or no interactions before, figuring them out about that. Then the lower half, we have slightly annoying, kind of the opposite of pretty good. Overall, I don't have good experiences with the fandom, but I know that they're not, all bad, right? Like, I have more negative experiences than positive, but at the end of the day, I still know the positivity exists there. And finally, almost finally, we have the mainly toxic experiences. This is just the worst of the worst. It's like anything I do, I just feel like it's going to get backlash from that fandom. Good or bad, it'll get backlash. And I don't think I can ever like really engage with this fandom without it being bad. And then we just have a special little delete them tier. I don't know if anything's going to go here, but hey, these weird people up here who have all went silent, wanted this tier here. So we'll find out if, that exists. So let's dive into this. Let's spice it up. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And again, tell me your thoughts and opinions of the tiers in the comments for the end of the video. By the end of the video? For the end of the video? I don't know what I'm saying. Let's just dive into this. We're going to start with the first one and just work our way around. I'm going to do my best to actually give personal experiences, but please don't expect a personal story from each one. This is a lot to remember from 9+ years of doing it, so it might just be an in general thing too. Okay? So let's get this started with aespa. Their fandom is called My, one of the biggest 4th gen girl groups. Where do they go from my experience with My's? I would put them in slightly annoying. They are on the lower end for me in terms of my experience with them. Again, it comes from... A lot of it is recent because at the end of last year, I did I ranked every single aespa song. And apparently, my taste in aespa sucks. Apparently, I like all of the quote-unquote bad songs from aespa, and the ones that I don't like, aespa fans love. My love, right? So our tastes kind of don't align, and, you know, they made that very clear that my taste was really bad when I ended up ranking stuff like Savage very low and... having like what songs did I have high? Flights Not Feelings and just those like more chill aespa stuff higher. But in general before that, yeah, I'm not too big into aespa title tracks, so you know, I don't get the most positive reception from My's. And you had Prologue and You. Yeah, Prologue and You. I like the chill aespa style. I like their vocals, and they just like. There's also the fact that My's very much are very heavy into how good of a rapper Giselle is, and I have yet to acknowledge that she is a very good rapper because I would disagree on that. I think she I know maybe at the end of the day SM is holding her back, and that very well could be true, but you know, from me being a rap content creator for K-pop, I haven't seen her perform at the expectations that My's talk about her being, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think that's haven't interacted with a lot of My's, so I just say neutral. Fair enough. So, My will go in slightly annoying for me. It is pushing down here mainly toxic experiences, but we'll see. You know, there's gonna be some more aespa stuff in the future, so you never know. Pink Panda, I am completely neutral on. And by neutral, I mean mainly no interactions. I haven't really had positive experiences with Pink Panda. I haven't really had negative experiences. I have not made much A-Pink content in my life. So that's probably why I haven't had too many interactions with them. I don't really do A-Pink stuff on Twitter, so I haven't like engaged with Pink Pandas on Twitter. I haven't made too much Pink Panda stuff on YouTube as well, or A-Pink stuff on YouTube as well. So I'm kind of just no interaction, neutral. So this is neutral because of no interaction, not neutral because of positive and negative. I haven't had enough experiences to really talk about Pink Pandas in a positive or negative light here. Moving on. Oh, this one should be spicy. We've got A-Tinny. God, I really want to, like, when I'm talking about these, I really want to just throw them here so I don't have to, like, I could think about it before I place them. But I know somebody's going to screenshot it and be like, oh my god, Matt put A-Tinny and delete them. You know, because screenshots are a thing. So I have to hold on to it. I don't think A-Tinny or delete them. I've had a very rocky relationship with A-Tinny over the years because I have not been the biggest ATEEZ fan in the world, which is fine. You know, I haven't loved their sound, and I'm very, you know, I'm not shy about my musical opinions, and I will say that when I'm not a huge fan of a group. I'll say that. So when I'm like, you know, not, you know, always engaging with A-Tinny in terms of like how good ATEEZ's music is, because I haven't been enjoying it that much, you know, that tends to bring up a lot of the toxic fans that are just like, if you don't like it, then you're bad. So if I was doing this 3-4 years ago, I would put A-Tinny here. And it kind of spiked with me doing a ranking the 4th gen boy groups in terms of like just ranking fourths in boy groups, I think. And I said in that video, I thought ATs were a bit overrated in terms of like the fandom tends to call them underdogs when they are kind of top of the game already. And that was my point behind that. Where they were still being like trying to be pushed up, like they're fighting for the top, but you know, they were kind of already on the top. And that was my reasoning behind that. Obviously, A10E did not like that statement. I still stand by it at the time. I don't think they're overrated anymore. But things have gotten a lot better. I've had many more positive experiences with A10E since then. So I think we're up here into the neutral territory. I've obviously had interactions with them, so they're in this tier because of neutral. I've had many positive, many late, or many negative as well, and it's just slightly been getting more and more positive. So, yeah, good. I've had good interactions recently with them, so they are on the rise for me in terms of a fandom. Plus, they've been really supportive recently when I make videos about rap, hyping up Hongjun, because Hongjun's been on such a tear with rap in the past 2 years, and I've been hyping him up because he deserves it, right? When a rapper does really well, I'll hype him up, and I've had a lot of A10E like really be like, hell yeah, and like supportive of the videos as I'm hyping up Hongjun. So like, you know, I gotta give him some notes for that as well, like, you know, some positivity for that. So they've been like moving up from where I've had them below before. Next up, VIPs. VIPs started off really great. They were super supportive when we first started, because if you didn't know, I used to be a reaction YouTube channel who showed my non-K-pop fans, my non-K-pop friends groups, and Big Bang was one of the groups that they really loved, being non-K-pop fans, right? So a lot of VIPs were supportive really early on, and we had a lot of positive experience with them. However, I have to knock them down a tier. As of late, I've had a few bad interactions, mainly from, you know, people kind of not wanting to let go of the past, right? A lot of VIPs are older fans who are still into K-pop, or just people who aren't into K-pop anymore, but were into K-pop during VIP era, or during Big Bang era. And, I mean this in the nicest way. There are at least a handful of VIP that I've experienced that do not want to move on to new stuff, or they will say Big Bang is the best group that's ever existed. No group even comes close to their music. No rappers ever come close to Top or G-Dragon. No vocalists will ever come close to Taeyang and Daesung. That's just the facts, right? And if you ever mention somebody else in the same conversation as, like, you know, for example, I will say Changbin is a faster rapper than Top. And I've had quite a few VIP that are very not happy that I say somebody's a faster rapper than Top, because he sounds faster than he is. So yeah, I've had quite a few negative experiences in recent years, but I cannot understate how thankful I am for VIP early on in the CarKpop days that were subscribing to the channel because of my buddies that, you know, were huge Big Bang fans when they were like non-K-pop fans and watching K-pop in the days. So I am very grateful for them, and I just gotta slide them down a little bit because, you know, experience some new stuff. You know, Big Bangs are legends. They have done so much for K-pop rapping. They've done so much for K-pop in general. But let yourself enjoy some new K-pop as well. That would be my. Like, I'm kidding. I know there's probably 99% of Big Bang fans are fine with other groups as well, but there's a couple that I've had that experience with. So there's old heads in every genre. That is completely true. Next fandom. Believe! These are Billy fans, and this might just be because Billy has become my favorite girl group in K-pop these days, but I have not had a bad experience with a Billy fan. I think all Billies all Believes are really cool. Now, do I think some Believe get a little too into it? Yeah. And it's not from it's from personal experience. I see on Twitter, because I like Billy so much, I get Twitter recommendations of Believe tweets. And man, There's some wild takes from Billy, for Billy that Believe have. And while I do think Billy is an underrated as fuck group, they are personally my favorite and everything. I'm just like, really? Let me think if I can remember one. Like, I'll just get recommended tweets, and like, it's only stuff with like 300 likes, right? But it's like they'll talk about Billy, so it'll be recommended on my Twitter timeline, and they're just talking about how it's like they'll send a snippet of a song and just be like, this random B-side from 3 years ago should have been the bigger than Blackpink or something, and I'm like, I mean, I love Billy, but like, come on, Ring X Ring, it's a cool song, but it's not like it's that. Like, maybe I'm the toxic one. Okay, maybe I'm the toxic Believe that pushes Billy way too much. That might be it. Okay, a little yeah, I've seen a little Delulu in there, but for the most part, I've never really seen any like toxicity in my personal engagement as a content creator with Believe so far. Might just be because I just adore Billy, but it is what it is. Next up, we've got, this is a spicy one. Let's talk about Blinks. Blinks is such a roller coaster. The biggest thing I can say positively is Blinks have blown up so many of my videos. They consume so much content, and especially during 2018, 2019 YouTube for me, Blackpink and videos and like making videos for Blinks, it just was so much support, and I fucking adore that. However, I can't put them up here because there's so many bad freaking apples. I will go to the fun fact that the only fandom that has ever sent me death threats for creating content is Blink. Purely for saying Jennie is not the fastest female rapper in K-pop. I have gotten literal death threats that I will be quote unquote hunted down, found, and will pay the price for people I care about, or some shit like that. And I'm just like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? And I know it's probably some fucking 13-year-old or some shit, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, really? Is that serious for you, buddy? So, while I'm very grateful, and I do not want to put them in delete them because they have done so much for my channel in terms of numbers-wise, being the only group that has sent me a death threat, I have to put them down here. And they get bumped up because the rest of the fandom has hyped my videos up so much with numbers. So, I'm very sorry, Blinks. But you have been done dirty by the handful of you that have. Yeah. Also, Jennie is not the fastest female rapper, just for the record. Just want to make sure that's abundantly clear. And it is not a big deal if she is or not. That really does not matter. Solo stands be better. Oh my god, and the amount of solo stands, I will literally have a video that is talking about how I like Rosé back in the day, and I'll have a solo Jennie stan that's like in the comments telling me how stupid it is that I'm making a video on Rosé or something because they love Jennie so much or something. The amount of solo stands here that are also toxic as hell is just like, bro, what? So yeah. Moving on, we have One Door, and this is Boy Next Door. So far, I'll put them in pretty good. The main interactions I have with Boy Next Door fans is Jaehyun being a rapper. That, how good of a rapper is Jaehyun, right? That is the main interaction I've had with One Door. And they go in pretty good because every time I talk about it, it's not in a negative way, right? Like, they will think, obviously that you'll think of your favorite rapper in your favorite group highly, right? And when I tell them, like, he hasn't done too much yet, I can't put him that high up on a tier list, I can't really talk about, like, there isn't too much to mention, that type of thing, right? it's like I don't get salty feedback, which is why they go into pretty good. They obviously disagree with me, and I can't put them in amazing yet, but maybe one day they can get up here. But for right now, it's like, pretty good. I've had pretty good experiences with One Door. But it's not just they're a pretty new group, right? They've only been around for a year and a few months, right? So it's like need some more time to really interact with them. But for the most part, I haven't had too many bad experiences with them. And everybody that really disagrees with me is very mature about it for the most part. So yeah, there you go. ARMY. Oh, another spicy one for ARMY. Oh god. Okay, this is BTS. BTS fans. Again, will watch the fuck out of my videos, and I appreciate them for that. Specifically in 2016, especially. We were a huge channel in terms of I loved reacting to BTS stuff because it would always get views, and they did a lot for the channel back then. On the other hand, I have never gotten more hate comments than any other fandom for saying I don't like a BTS song. And people being unrealistic and being like, well, then you're just a fat fuck that doesn't deserve blah, 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 So it's another very polarizing thing. At the end of the day, while I am still very grateful for the amount of views ARMY have done for me, I'm not putting them in delete them. I don't know if I could put any fandom into delete them. As a content creator, I very much am appreciative for all the views and everything. Therefore, I can't say I want to delete them. I am tempted to put them in slightly annoying, but at the end of the day, I've had way more toxic interactions with ARMY, even to this day, where I'm just talking about other rappers, and they will, I will literally have people in my comments that are like, disassociate BTS from K-pop, and will say, RM, J-Hope, and Suga have exceeded the limits of K-pop rapping. They are better than every other K-pop rapper because they work with J. Cole, and they work with Wale, and they work with Western rappers. So therefore, they're number one. It is not logical responses. It's just, I love these boys, and I get that. I understand the love that you have for your favorite group, but it is like it needs, they need to be done here. It is, you can't reason with the interactions I've had with ARMY. It's very hard to reason with them and be like, but Zico's done blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but RM and Suga are blah, 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 blah. And it'll be like, okay, can you tell me something that they've done that's cool? Yeah, but blah, 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 like. So, yeah, I haven't had the most positive experience with ARMYs. I'm very grateful that they exist because they've supported my channel, especially in like 2016, 2017. But, the amount of times that I haven't liked a BTS song and haven't liked the direction BTS went as a group and just got raided with awful comments and disagree on placement for how good the rap line is of BTS and just get raided with unrealistic, unlogical responses, hyping up people's faves. Like, they just need to go here. Let me grab a drink of water real quick. Woo! That crispy little crack. That felt good. Okay. Aid. This is the fandom of the group Daya. I've had like no interactions with this fandom, so I'll put them here. I might have had a couple interactions back in the day when I was talking about their rapper's placement. Kathy, she switched her stage name to her Korean name. I think it's like Huyeon. I might be wrong about her Korean name. But I really have not interacted much with Aid to the point where I can't remember most of the interactions. So I'll put them in neutral / no interactions because I don't have too much experience with them. If you're an Aid, say hi in the comments below. I would love to meet some Aid because I don't have any interaction. So give me a positive experience and then I can bump them up to here, Okay, next one. Insomnia. Here is the biggest thing for Insomnia. The most annoying thing I experience with Dreamcatcher fans is they will go to the grave to tell you that Dreamcatcher are underrated. Anytime I mention Dreamcatcher, they are underrated and need more love and need more thing. And I'm just like, they're one of the most popular girl groups that aren't in the big four. What do you mean? And so I'm just like, okay. Now, to be fair, Dreamcatcher were very underrated, especially during their first 4 or 5 years, maybe first 3 or 4 years. They were very underrated, but they 100%. They've won music shows now. They've gotten their flowers. They've got millions of views. Had some of the biggest hits in each year and and all that. Dami is the best rapper. Yeah. Also, Dami being the best rapper gets a little bit annoying. However, they are a very peaceful fandom, at least to me, especially when I'm talking about Dami and how she's kind of not at the point rap-wise where she used to be. I haven't had too many negativity. So, at the end of the day, even though my comments get filled with, Dreamcatcher are underrated, talk about them more, it's just a little annoying. But not enough for me to put them down here. I want to just put them in pretty good. They're overall a pretty good fandom, than in my experience. Yeah. I haven't, and they're very cloistered. From what I've experienced, Insomnia are very much like, stay within themselves. They don't try to go out and like start shit. in my comments on Twitter when I'm seeing Dreamcatcher stands engage with me and everything, they don't they pretty much like stay within their fandom when hyping up Dreamcatcher, and I appreciate that because there's a lot of fandoms, which we'll get to soon, that will literally shove their group down your throat. Now they will shove the fact that Dreamcatcher are underrated down your throat, and I just think that's just wrong, but they don't go out of their way. It's like, oh, I like Dreamcatcher. They're like, hey, okay, and then they move on. But they won't just like, stand Dreamcatcher, and just trying to shove Dreamcatcher down your throat. So I appreciate that as well. So I'll put them up in pretty good. Engines. I don't have too much to say on Engines. So this is the Enhypen fandom, if you don't know. I have not engaged much with Engines, surprisingly. I think the most annoying thing I've seen in my comments about Engine is that Enhypen fans it's like a typical like fandom thing though, where they'll put Enhypen before anybody else. Who's the best 4th gen group? Enhypen. But it's like beyond their fandom. It's just like, oh, Enhypen better, like if I'm ranking songs, right? Enhypen better be number 1. Or if I'm ranking groups, Enhypen better be number 1, right? And it's like typical fandom shit, right? Like, it's not the worst thing in the world. So I'm in between pretty good and neutral. Because I've heard bad, again, this is not me ranking from like, horror stories I've heard of other people engaging with Enhypen fans. I'm going to put them in pretty good. I personally have not had the annoying fucking Enhypen stands that I hear about in my comments and in my engagement and on my channels and everything. I have not had that personally yet. Even though I'm not the biggest Enhypen fan, I have a couple of their songs on my playlist. So the fact that I'm not even a huge fan of them and I haven't experienced these fans, I'm going to put them in pretty good. I can't put them in amazing yet. Maybe one day. But right now, I'll leave them in pretty good. Again, I do know the horror stories. I've heard other people talk about the horror stories with this fandom. I haven't experienced it personally, luckily, and I'm very grateful for that. Moving on. Forever. Chat, help me out. What fandom's Forever? Six-member girl group, Forever. Oh, this is Everglow. Okay, this is going to become from this is coming from the fact that I'm not the biggest Everglow fan musically. They're slightly annoying. For the most part, most Everglow fans that I have interacted with are fine. You know, they're like normally they would be here. I haven't had like super positive interactions with Everglow fans because I don't make too much content on Everglow. But the interactions I do have, you know, have been very like, you know, uneducated. And it'll be people trying to hype up Asha and EU as top tier girl group rappers and send me their songs, and it's just them doing eighth notes that aren't even self-written. And I'm just like, that's not that good. Your ears are broken. What do you mean? These are the best girl group rappers in K-pop. And I've had that quite a few times where Everglow fans want EU and Asha to be seen as like, you know, Soyeon level type rappers. And I'm just like, And then there's also, I this one is more like, you know, not direct engagement, but me seeing it on like Twitter and stuff. I see Everglow fans trying to like, put Everglow, you know, as like number one group. And, you know, that's completely fair as a fandom and everything, but it's a little to the point of like, if you don't love Everglow, what's wrong with you type thing. Which it bugs me a little bit. But, you know, I do feel for them as a fandom overall with how the company has Everglow, how often Everglow comes back. I feel for them and the treatment that, you know, they get from the company allowing Everglow to have new songs. It does not feel like it's that often, but yeah, they're slightly annoying for me from my experiences. How do you not get pissed off by these people? I would lose my temper because I've been doing this for 9.5 years. I'm used to it. XOLs. Okay, wait. XOLs. The Chen drama? I cannot factor in the Chen drama. It has nothing to do with me and my personal experience. XOL is going slightly annoying. I've had negative experiences with them. I've very much engaged with very uneducated XOL fans that are just like, again, a lot of XOL fans are older, right? They have a lot of older fans. So, you know, as you get older in K-pop, if you don't keep up with the times, you know, old person talk, yeah. If you don't stay up to date, right? Like, you tend to get stuck in this rut of 2015 is all there is in K-pop. So I've had a lot of like XOLs think that they know what they're talking about and will talk to me about how Chanyeol is the best rapper in K-pop. And then I'm just like, he's an idol rapper. And they get so mad. And I'm like, he's the best idol rapper. But they'll get so mad because he's a real rapper. And I'm just like, wait. Okay. Like at the end of the day, I've had definitely more annoying interactions with XOLs. As XOL becomes kind of or EXO becomes a group that's kind of like teetering on the twilight years of their existence, which is very sad because I loved their last album. I think they get better with time listening to their music. And the biggest reason why they're not here is because I did listen to every single EXO song and made a video ranking their music, and I had so many positive interactions with EXO fans. Of them commenting nice things about how they would place their songs and how it was enjoyable for them to see that and everything. And that left a really good mark on me. But there are quite a handful of XOLs that, you know, have this, like we've been talking about with this, this mindset of EXO, like they're stuck in this like the defense mindset of 2015 where, you know, ARMY, XOL, grrr, right? And they're still thinking that everybody's out to get them, but there's nobody over here. So they're like, grrr. And so there's a few people that are still like this, that it's like, yo, EXO's a chill group now. Let's pull it back. We could just chill and listen to some fucking chill EXO music. And Those are the good fans, and I've seen a lot of them recently. And again, if you did this a couple years ago, I'd probably have XOLs down here. They've improved for me in recent years, and so I'm gonna bump them up to just slightly annoying. Now, I'm not talking about the people that I don't engage with, the stalkers, as being mentioned up here, the people that like go out of their way to engage with EXO. We're not mentioning all those, the sasaengs, but in my personal experience as a content creator, we'll put EXOs there. Okay. Up next, we have Flover. Who is Flover? This is a 9-member girl group. Fromis 9? Okay, it is Fromis 9. Fromis 9. I'm going to put in neutral. I've had some positive experiences, like just slightly positive experiences with Fromis 9 when I'm talking about, like, for example, their final comeback that they had, and I was like, oh my god, the song's so good, and they're like, hell yeah, and everything. I've had a couple negative things from me viewing it from the outside of people like, how can you not love Fromis 9? You're tasteless if you don't love my favorite group, right? So I think they land in neutral. I haven't had that many interactions with them either, but I have had a few, and for the most part, it's either just, it's like slightly good, slightly bad. I'm kind of in the middle of them. The bad stuff isn't even that bad. It's just them wanting, like, you know, Fromis 9 to be seen as a top tier group when, you know, they kind of never, in my opinion, hit that. But at the same time, I've had good experiences of, you know, you like a song and they will hype you the fuck up, and I appreciate that as well. So we'll put them in neutral. I've had slightly good, slightly bad, so neutral it is. But I think it also says a lot that I haven't had a bunch of like really bad experiences, so I think that is a positive little thing. Let me actually reorganize this tier. I'm gonna organize neutral and no interactions to sort them between what they are. So like Aid was no interactions, Atini and Flover are neutral. So neutral will go first, and then no interactions will go second. I think that can make it clear. Next, we have Buddy, and this is G-Friend, right? I find their fucking their tier name or their fandom name is hilarious to me because their name is G-Friend, right? Like girlfriend. So they name their fandoms, "Hey, Buddy," like they're getting friend zoned. And I know there's probably a reason behind it beyond that, but as an uneducated, never like became like a buddy, looking on it from the outside, it just looks like G-Friend are friend zoning their fans, and I love that. But that's beyond the point of the video. G-Friend fans, for the most part, I think will go an amazing fandom. I don't think I've ever had a bad experience with G-Friend fans, even as somebody who didn't love the group. The only negative time I ever had it with G-Friend fan is I hate Mago. I do not like Retro. I hate the song Mago. And I don't even have any negative experiences of me just saying Mago is not for me. It is not a good song for me. I don't even have any negative experiences of buddies like being upset about that. If you would like to change that and yell at me in the comments if you're a buddy, please feel free. I could dock them down. But overall, amazing fandom. I you know, everything I see from G-Friend fans is just positive. I think that's easy. Like, and I think that's what makes it an amazing fandom. It's just like no negativity, no toxicity, no trying to go out and cut other groups' throats, no trying to go out and cut other fandom throats, at least in my comments and my everything. It might also just be because G-Friend is not a rap-heavy group, so they don't have to get into the discourse about their rappers. But yeah, Naviero is peak. Hell yes. Okay. Next up, we have Neverland. Okay. I know everybody was talking about orbits when I was saying shoving a group down your throat. We'll talk about orbits in a minute. But the other one I had in mind is Neverland. Now, I need to make this abundantly clear. I am very grateful because Neverland have done not only a lot for my channel, they have done a lot for Soyeon and pushing her to the rightful spot that she should be at as one of the best fandoms in general. However, boy, can in 2025, Neverland have gotten a little far for me. Like, anytime I see, like, I talk about Soyeon a lot, right? Because she's like one of the best rappers in K-pop. I'll talk about her a lot. And while I do think that she is owed the hype that she gets, there are some fucking crazy Neverland that come into my comments and come into my Twitter timeline, and I just don't understand. It's like the only relevant. Think of it like this. You know how I mentioned with ARMY that BTS, like there's a lot of ARMY that are like BTS is superseded K-pop. They've surpassed the K-pop label. They're the only group that's relevant in K-pop, right? Neverland's kind of like that from what I've seen for girl groups. Now, I don't think it's mainly toxic experiences. I will not put Neverland down there. This is, they've done not only a lot for me. I've had so many positive experiences with Neverlands too. But at the same time, you know, I've literally had people I've engaged with that are, you know, Neverland that will literally, go out of their way to literally shit on other idols and groups, not even in defense of Neverland. And it's like, yeah. So I can't put them down here because I've had way too many positive experiences with Neverland. They've done so much for Soyeon and rightfully hyping her up to where she should be in an educated way. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that I'll be like, Soyeon is not the fastest female rapper anymore. And they will be like, how dare you? You don't know what you're talking about. She raps 8.65 syllables per second in bad bitch number, and you don't know what you're talking about. You are a pathetic pig, blah, 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 blah. And, like, you know, they'll go off on me like that just for, like, how fast Soyeon raps. And I'm just like, buddy, chill. They get very much full of themselves. They think nobody else even comes close to the group. And at the same time, lots of positivity of, like, you know, supporting it. Like, you know, I'll talk about Soyeon's rap and it'll get every Neverland everywhere will be sharing it and supporting the fuck out of my channel. And I appreciate that so much. At the end of the day, that balances out to neutral. And I think that's where I have to put them. I am tempted to put them down here because of how much they overpush the group and kind of shove Idol down people's throats. It's like, do you listen to Idol? Not really. Why? But they're the only group that talks about relevant political problems and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And Soyeon is just a master, blah, blah, blah. And they will just shout in your face about how you need to listen to Idol. And I'm just like, oh my God. But again, they are so supportive of me whenever I do hype up Soyeon in a rightful way when she deserves it. I will hype her the fuck up and they will support that. And I got to put it in the middle. So I think neutral is kind of where they end up being. But it's wild on both. I have so many positive experiences with them. Please do not get me wrong. I genuinely have met so many amazing Idol stans that have supported my channel and really love when I talk about Soyeon, especially and when I talk about Idol's music. And I've met so many just annoying Neverlands that literally will act so immature. So we'll put them in the middle. I've had so many interactions with Neverland. I guess it's kind of hard to be one side or the other when you have that many interactions with a fandom, right? So yeah. Moving on. We've got SNSD Seon. This is hard because most of my Seon interactions are from early CarKpop days, right? Because SNSD doesn't do too much anymore. So most of my interactions with Seon have been from the early days. It's hard to remember a lot of them. I know I've had some good. I know I've had some bad. I'm putting them in neutral. Yeah. There's a lot of Seon that are like full of themselves because they're like, I stand the best girl group ever. There's a lot of Seon that are very respectful because, you know, SNSD aren't around as much and, you know, they just appreciate what you talking about SNSD. So I think neutral's a fine spot. I don't have any like super deep stories either way. Iconics. Iconics, if I was doing this when Iconics were in YG, it would be here. Nowadays, they're pretty good. I really do like the Iconic fandom nowadays, but specifically since they've left YG, I feel like so much of the negativity I experienced with them has faded away. I don't know what that attributes to YG, but, you know, Bobby, whenever I talk about Bobby, insane support. Whenever you talk about the group's songs in general, insane support, especially, you know, since being not in YG. When they were in YG, if you talk negatively about them, if you didn't put them in the top tier of anything, it's like... But I never thought of them as... They never flooded my comments in the same way, like, you know, Army would if I didn't like an Army song, or my... kind of in the same way my has. But that was back when they were in YG. Nowadays, I just have nothing but positive experiences with Iconic, in specifically the last 3 or so years. And that kind of bumped them up to pretty good for me. So yeah, I think that's kind of where they lie for me. Next up, we have Midsies. Okay. Oh, okay. Midsies is hard. Midsies is really hard because I don't know how to articulate this. You have Midsies that are like, I've had like, oh, I gotta think on this one. Okay. I've had, like, obviously, you know, this is somewhere in the middle. I've had good experiences, and I've also experienced some toxic stuff, right? It's like, during the, like, I would say the dark ages of ITZY, right? Sneakers. Well, Boy Like You? I think it was the song named the English one that sounded like a Disney track. Well, I think it was like 2022 ITZY. Oh my god. There were some very outspoken Midsi that just could not understand why the group was getting as much dislike as they did. And it's like, if you like those songs, fair enough. You know, I would never tell someone you can't like a song, right? But to not understand why people were not enjoying ITZY at that time, made very little sense to me. However, I think that's kind of the worst of it. I think it's mainly ITZYs, which you could, or Midsies, which you would call delusional, because they just think everything that ITZY does is perfect, when it's just simply not true. And no group is like that. But even though there's some fans in every group, I've just seen a lot of Midsies that just think everything ITZY does is perfect, and everybody just doesn't understand the group, right? However, I think at the end of the day, for what this group goes through and what the fandom has to go through because of that, I'm not going to put them in amazing fandom from my experience. I think they go in neutral. They thinking Imaginary Friend is the best song of 2024, and they didn't hear any song from 2024 except ITZY. I don't think Imaginary Friend is like an awful song by any means. I can understand why people would say it's the best. Do I agree? No. But I don't think that... I think when you say Sneakers is the best song of 2022, then I'm like, I don't understand why. I understand if you like it. I don't understand how you think it's the best song of the... But, yeah. I think from my personal, again, this is all through my personal experience as a content creator. The biggest the biggest parts of Mitzi that are annoying is Ryujin stans that want Ryujin to be top tier rapper when she hasn't done anything to be a top tier rapper, and sneaker / boys like you or boy like whatever that song is, fanatics that think that point is peak Itzy and will not shut up about it. Those are the worst parts of Mitzi. And that's not the mainly toxic experiences for me. But at the end of the day, I don't see too many positive ones as well. I'm tempted to put them here, but I'm going to put them here. Yeah. This is kind of hard to tier list just based on personal experiences. I'm learning that now. Okay, next up we have Dives, which is iFans. iFans hyped the fucking group up, and the group is hyped as much as it should be because they are one of the top 4th gen groups right now, and I don't see any problem with them doing that. I've never really had that negative of a thing. Are they amazing? I've had a fair share of iFans that just expect everything that IVE does to be number 1 of the year for everything. I think in general, I've just had... no, they got to go neutral as well. We'll put them in neutral. It's kind of leaning on no interactions. I don't interact with them that much. But, you know, when I do talk about IVE, I don't get negative comments. I don't get too many positive comments either. It's just kind of... they're there. IVE is overrated. Sorry, they make K-pop Kids Bop slightly better. But at the end of the day, that's not the fandom. That's like, if you think IVE is overrated, you know... yeah. No interactions means they're good. You would think, yeah, like that is definitely a case to have them up here. It's like the fact that I haven't had interactions with them for the most part, and they're one of the biggest groups, and I'm a content creator. I think that, you know what, that makes a lot of sense, Koala. I'm gonna actually put them in pretty good, and that's the reasoning. They are one of the biggest 4th gen girl groups. I make videos on K-pop, and I can't really recall negative interactions with Dive, even though I can't recall positive ones. I think that just, like, because they're that big, I should have experienced something negative by now, and I haven't. And I think that gets them in pretty good, at the very least. So, I think that's fitting. Is it Wiz One? Wise One? Is it Wise One? Slightly annoying. Purely for the fact that I never got into Eyes One. I barely made videos on Eyes One. Therefore, in current day, when I say, when one of the members debut in another group, and I'm like, who? Or one of the members has a solo, and I'm like, who? Why are they so big? Oh my god! Wise One, former Wise One fans are like, you don't know. I'm gonna use Chaewon as an example here, because I know Chaewon and I love Chaewon now. You don't know Chaewon? She was in Wise One, the biggest and most successful girl group ever, and it's just like, it's slightly annoying for that reason. It's like, come on, I was never a fan of them. She's in a new girl group now. Let's just say she was in Eyes One and move. I'm like, okay. It's like people are just like. They like current Wise Ones, I guess, can't, from what I've experienced, current Wise Ones can't grasp the fact that I never got into Eyes One, and they just can't understand that from what I've experienced. And it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, they would probably be at the top, like closest to neutral in terms of this tier. Like, if I was ranking them left to right, they would definitely be up here and like pushing neutral. But they just slightly get pushed down and is slightly annoying just because in modern day, the former Wise One fandom that have all moved on to other things cannot let go of Eyes One, and literally cannot let me let go of the fact that I never got into this group. But during like the time that IZ*ONE existed, I never really had negative interactions. It's just nowadays, it's just like, how dare you not know IZ*ONE members? It's like incomprehensible for them to imagine that somebody wasn't an IZ*ONE fan. And I think that's the most annoying thing that I've experienced with them in my comments and stuff. It's God damn it, Nepal. Next up we have Keplian. Okay, hear me out. This is kind of the same reason as Dive. They're pretty good. And it's the same reason as Dive. Dive, I have very little interactions with. And I can't even like really think of negative ones. And they're such a big group. Kep1er is kind of the same thing, but in a different sense. Kep1er should have been what IZ*ONE is, right? They were the little sisters to IZ*ONE. They should have been that big. And their company, I guess it's their company, failed them. They never made it that big, right? And I feel for that, right? I'm like, damn, that sucks. But with all this, like, not turmoil, but with all everything against them, I don't have Keplians in my comments yelling at me that Kep1er is better than they're perceived and all this, right? I don't experience that. And so I got to put them in pretty good because I just don't experience the negative aspects that should be there when a group is going through that much turmoil with their company and like just being treated kind of bad in terms of the songs that they're given and the projects that they're given and how they're, you know, doing all that. I respect it because I haven't had the negative people yelling at me. Is Hikaru the best 4th gen rapper? No. I was hoping she would be. But that's a problem with the fucking company. Not letting Hikaru be an actual rapper. That is not a problem with the fandom. And to be completely fair, I've never heard anybody ever try to tell me that Dahyun or Hikaru are like top tier rappers when they're clearly not. I've never heard anybody trying to tell me that. So the infighting for Kep1er fans is insane, even for Survival. There's infight. See, I don't experience that though. I'm not in the fandom, but for me as a content creator, I have not experienced that infighting. So yeah, Kissy. Oh my god. Okay, this might get a little. Hold on. Okay. Whew. Kissy are quickly becoming the Neverland for me of 5th gen. With the asterisks that Neverland support the fuck out of my content when I make idol-related videos. Although I haven't really made that many Kiss of Life videos, I've never had like Kissy blow up a video when I talk about Kiss of Life, right? But they remind me so much of Neverland and how Neverland pushed Idol. I feel like Kissy pushed Kiss of Life in almost the same way. Are they mainly toxic? No. Are they slightly annoying? Possibly. They're not amazing either because of that, you know, the way that they're pushed as like the only, like I just feel like every time I interact with a Kissy, their thought process is Kiss of Life is the only reasonable 5th gen group you can listen to. And they have this kind of superiority for my interactions with them and comments and stuff. But they're not awful. And I don't know why I get this Neverland comparison with them. It's the same kind of attitude towards the group when I interact with them. We might have the same underdog mentality, possibly. It might be it might just be due to the fact that Kiss of Life are like the only like sexy group right now, like mature group, like that do like mature concepts, right? And because they're the only ones doing that, it's like they kind of have this edge over the other groups, and it's like no one else does what Kiss of Life does, you know? Did I put them in pretty? It's pretty good or neutral. They brought the thirst trap back. I've seen a lot of like natty thirst traps and stuff. Have I had negative interactions with them beyond just me seeing it? Have I talked to a Kissy that's literally punching me. I don't think so. I think it's mainly from me just scrolling on TikTok, and like I think the biggest negativity I've ever seen from them is people trying to tell me that Julie is the best rapper because she's a YG trainee. And I'm just like, okay, no, but okay. And if that's the worst thing you've ever done, I guess you're up here. I'll put him in pretty good. I have no reason to put him in neutral. There's really nothing bad that they've ever done. It's like, do they fucking hype up Kiss of Life to the point where it's almost annoying? Possibly. But is that essentially bad? No, I can't. So I'll put Kissy pretty good. I've had pretty good experiences, I guess. Fear Nots with Le Seraphim. Okay. In terms of, again, my personal experience with Fear Nots. In terms of my personal experience, I'm tempted to put them in amazing. I've never had personal experiences on my YouTube channel. No, that's a lie. That is a lie. That is a lie. I just remembered. Fear Not did not like that I said Unchained's not a good rapper. Hold on, wait. Fear Not did not like that I said Unchained is not a good rapper. I just remembered that. And I'm just like, okay. Okay, I have had a negative experience with them then. In general, though, everything I hear about Le Seraphim is people attacking Le Seraphim. Le Seraphim can't sing! And then, I'll have people defending them in my comments. She's not a rapper. Exactly! She's not a rapper, therefore she's not that good of a rapper. Hard to judge a whole fandom from one person attacking you on YouTube. I mean, it wasn't really attacking me. But yeah, I mean that's basically it's my personal interactions with the fandom. That's what this is, right? And it's somebody in the fandom that I'm interacting with. And to be fair, I think somebody else said it as well on a different video because I also mentioned that back in the other. Hey, Skid. They be defending like it's the end of the world. But from what I've seen though, like, in my own comments, it's like people fucking hate Le Seraphim. Le Seraphim can't sing. This is why K-pop idols should actually train before debuting. And there's just so much crap thrown their way. I don't see Le Seraphim fans going out of their way to attack other people. I just see them defend from all the shit that the Le Seraphim gets from other K-pop fans for some reason. And that's my main interaction with them is them defending their group. And I'm just like, I can't hate them for that. The hate they get is so uncalled for, and I get why that's kind of it's like, I get why they're defensive. It's like, I understand. I see the hate you guys get. I completely get it. And I've never had, like, Fear Nots go out of their way, even though I didn't like Crazy. That was the first time I did not like a Le Seraphim title track. I didn't get shit from them. So I'll put them in pretty good. Thank you, Skid. I appreciate it. I'm gonna leave them in here. Some of the criticism is valid. I mean, sure, yeah. When you do a bad performance, criticism is 100% valid. And Le Seraphim deserved criticism for a bad performance at Coachella. Did they deserve to be told that they are literally the worst K-pop group vocally and blah, 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 when half of the K-pop groups literally lip sync and half of them are like, come on, let's not pretend that Le Seraphim is the only fucking K-pop group that, like, would, like, possibly do that in their career. Anyway, Orbits! So speaking of shoving a group down the throat, I have personally had so many Orbits shove Luna down my throat, especially early on. I don't think that makes them an awful fandom, though. I have had some bad fandom experiences with them. I don't think that they are Blink Army level to me and what Blinks and Armies have interacted with me on. I do not think necessarily they are even slightly annoying. But yeah, like overall as a fandom, I respect how they got Luna out of that awful situation with their boycott. I respect the fuck how they've supported Lucemble and Artemis even through all this time, and the Chu solos, and how they've continued supporting these members. Them as a fandom, like in a broad sense, like honestly, I would low-key put them up here if we're not talking about my personal experience with them, just as a fandom and what a fandom should be, pushing the group to death, supporting the group, doing what's best for the members. And, you know, I haven't seen that many solo stands. Like, I respect the fuck out of the fandom. I think if it was a broad sense, not my personal interactions with them, I think Orbits are probably one of the best fandoms. But through my personal interactions, I do need to put them in slightly annoying because, you know, I've been a K-pop fan since 2015. I knew Luna in pre-debut. I reacted to the pre-debut stuff, and I'll still have Orbit in like 2023 to being like, Stan Luna. And I'm like, okay, bro, you're like 5 years late to the joke. Let's move on. And it got to the point where it's like, it's not just, like, it's not like, come on. Let's move it forward. Let's keep it going. Let's start saying Stan Artemis. Something like that, you know? So they get a little bit of slightly annoying. But overall, I respect the fuck out of the fandom. But my personal interactions, I'm like, let's move on. Type of thing. Kind of keep coming to DVD. I saw that, yeah. Moo-Moo's Mamamoo. Oh my god. Oh, this is gonna be hard. Mamamoo pre-2019 fans would be here. Mamamoo post 2019 would be here. So I'll put them in pretty good. We'll split the difference. Pre 2019, when Mamamoo was the actual underrated, you know, and like, you know, you're seeing a pattern, right? Like groups that are like very much on top of the scene tend to get the most radical fans. Mamamoo, when they were a very small, vocal-centered, showing off vocals with like jazz pop instrumentals behind them. Lovely fandom. Absolutely cute, adorable fandom. Really amazing. Since they blew up in popularity, though, I've had a couple more poor interactions with them. Not to the point where I'd call it annoying, not to the point where I'd call it, you know, toxic and want to delete them. But I've had, you know, enough to bring it down from amazing fandom to make me go, you know. It's just again, people thinking that Mamamoo is center of the world. And it's like every fandom, but it's enough to like bring them down a tier for me. And again, it's mainly those like new age fans that came in during COVID, and not necessarily you watching this if you are a Moo who came in during COVID years and Mamamoo, but you know, there's a lot of radical, you know, fight me fans that came in around that time, and Mamamoo was a group that ended up getting, BTS got a lot of them, Mamamoo got a lot of them, Blackpink got a hell of a lot of them. Like there was a huge shift in Blackpink fans from 2018-19 Blackpink to 2020-2021 Blackpink. Like, there's a lot of fans that were like that. And I think Mamamoo was a recipient of some of those fans, and that did bring them down for me. Probably the case fandom. Oh, my God. So, yeah. Next up, we're coming to the end here. We only got a couple left. Monbebes! You know what? Genuinely, I'm going to put Monbebe in amazing. I have not really had bad experiences with Monbebe. Even in the years that I have not been liking Monsta X's music as much, I haven't had negative experiences. Even when I don't put Juhan and IM as like top tier in terms of rap, like they are some of the best rappers in K-pop, but I don't put them in that tier with Bobby, Minho, and Zico, right? I don't have Monsta X fans that are chirping at me the entire time. I don't think I've really had any negative experiences with Monbebe. Even doing videos on them as early as 2015. Most Monbebe are chill? I think so. Yeah. I can't think of any negative experiences. So I'll put them in amazing. I think it's as easy as that. Not much else to say. And Citizen, NCT's in, and NCT as a whole. Okay, wait. So this is just NCT as a whole, not specifically one of the subgroups. How would I tier list this? They're not amazing. They've supported the hell, 2017 specifically, they supported the hell out of CarKpop, and I appreciate them so much for that. There's a little bit of a misguide, and again, I'm a rap-centered channel, so obviously most of my interactions come from the rap line stuff. There's a bit where, you know, a lot of NCTians think that they are on top of the world in terms of rap. It's like, nobody ever competes with Mark and Taeyong. They are sent from God into our good graces through NCT. It's just like, they hype up their rappers, man. They really do. And it's like, it's definitely not mainly toxic experiences. Again, if this was 2017, I would have them here. I think I think as a whole, I think they're pretty good. I'm trying to think. Surely there's like a really big negativity I've had with them beyond just disagreements over rapping. But I can't think of it off the top of my head. I did the whole ranking NCT's songs, and like not even then, NCT 127 specifically, and not even then I'd had too many negative experiences. So I think pretty good is just a good spot for NCT's in right now for me. I don't hate them by any means. I don't have any issues. Bunnies. Okay. New Jeans fans, or I should say NJZ fans. Personal interactions with NJZ fans. You guys are going to not like me. You guys are not going to like what I'm about to do. Because I know people have horrible interactions with bunnies. I know. I hear about it all the time. And I don't experience it. And it might be the same as GFriend. It might have the same thing to do with GFriend, to where GFriend doesn't rap. And so I don't talk about GFriend that often. And when I do, it's just me talking about how I enjoyed a song. And so it's probably along the same degree as Bunny, where I don't talk about New Jeans often. And when I do, it's just how I love OMG or how I love How Sweet. But the plagiarism allegations, though? What do you mean? Am I forgetting something that happened? I mean, chat. Again, I told you guys probably won't like me. Please tell me, in my personal experience, tell me when I made a video, and genuinely, when did I make a video or have an interaction I complained about with Bunny? Again, we're not tier listing the fandoms in a broad sense. This is, in my personal experience with bunnies, I've never had bunnies complaining to me, even with when they're debuting, and I was like, they're not for me, or when they were coming back with, what else did I not like from New Jeans? I didn't like ETA. I've never had a bad experience with them. The fandom accusing everyone and their mother of accusing groups of plagiarism. I get that. It has nothing to do with me, though. It's like I can't be judging fandoms off of... this is my... Again, the tier list is my personal experience with a fandom. Them accusing every other fan or every other group of plagiarizing New Jeans has never come up in my comments. And if it has, it was so irrelevant that I didn't even pay attention to it. Bunnies, please smite him. Why would they smite me? I'm saying they're an amazing fandom in my experience. I've never had bunnies like out to get me. I've never experienced the bad side of them for whatever reason. I don't know. I mean, I might be missing something, and if I am, please let me know, but like in my I mean, they've only been around since what, 2022? So in my 2.5 years of NJZ New Jeans existence, nothing. That's good though. You've been saved. I guess so, but that's why it's there. The only stuff I've seen of that is other groups' fans saying that bunnies accuse them of plagiarism. I've never actually seen a bunny do it. Probably happens, but that's my experience. Interesting. Bunnies are worse than armies. Nepolf, I can go into my comments right now on YouTube and I can search and have probably over 10,000 comments of okay, maybe that's I can have over 1,000 comments of army calling me names and, you know, genuinely insulting me for either not liking a song or not thinking Suga is as good as Zico or something like that, right? I guarantee you there's less than 10 comments of bunnies doing something toxic in my comments. I would guarantee you. I have not experienced it. And again, I can probably attribute it to the fact that New Jeans doesn't rap. Therefore, I don't talk about New Jeans as rappers. Therefore, the only time I do talk about New Jeans is when I like a song from them. Thus, I don't get the negativity from New Jeans. But I can't just go make a fake post and be like, New Jeans sucks, and then have all the bunnies come after me to get them to be negative towards me, you know? So anyway, I'll put bunny here. I think you guys aren't going to like that, but again, I haven't had that negativity experience that I've had, or that I've had with other groups that, you know, I can't recall any time that a New Jeans fan in my comments has been annoying as hell. It just hasn't happened. I mean, maybe it will one day, but right now I can't say it has. Answer and mix. Oh boy. Oh, what do I do with N mix? For those who don't know, I'm very passionate about NMIX's producing. I'm not a big fan. I love the girls of NMIX. I think they're talented as hell, and I love when they make actual good music in terms of production. I think it's some of the best in K-pop, and especially late 4th, early 5th gen. But when they do NMIX change-up stuff, I do not like it. And I make that very clear in my videos that NMIX change-up is my least favorite part of NMIX. And most NMIX fans love the NMIX change-up. That's why they're NMIX fans, right? Is it mainly toxic? No. I've had many positive experiences. I recently, on stream, redid the NMIX High Horse song, and 90% of the comments were very sweet, being like, I love the original, but this is pretty good too. I would totally listen to this, right? Naomi, if that gets me copyrighted, I am going to sue you so hard. I'm kidding. But, please don't do that, guys. Yeah. Toxic experiences. By the way, I genuinely don't think it's going to copyright me. I was just joking. Toxic experiences. I've had some, but I'm going to put them slightly annoying because I've had lots of positive engagements too, especially when people do agree with me on, you know, production efforts not being there, you know, doing an entire song with a childhood nursery rhyme. There are a lot of answers that actually, like, you know, I like the song, but I understand where you're coming from. A lot of them are very reasonable, but, you know, a lot of them love their NMIX change-ups, and I'm very vocal that I think that is the biggest part that keeps me from being a fan of them. So I've had lots of positive stuff, don't get me wrong. I've had a handful of very toxic people that, you know, don't understand. Maybe I can put them in neutral. because it does go both ways. I'll put them in neutral. I think neutral is fine. Peace. I want to put peace here. I want to put peace here. I truly do. The thing that holds me back from putting them here, the main thing, I still might put them here. But fuck. The amount of peace in my comments that don't respect Jongsub is crazy to me. Holy shit. And I know there's going to be some of you in the YouTube comments, and even some of you on Twitch, they're going to go, what are you talking about, man? There are so many P1 Harmony fans that only listen to P1 Harmony because, haha, P1 Harmony are funny on TikTok. Ha 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 ha. And nobody actually pays attention to how good of a rapper Jongsub is. So when I make Jongsub videos, I will literally have Peace go, oh my god, somebody's talking about his rapping. I never got that before. Or like, Peace don't talk about their music enough. Exactly. And it annoys me because there's so many times where I'm just like, Peace could be such, like, P1 Harmonyers could be such a talent, like, such a big group because their rapping is so freaking good. And there's so many times where the genuine fandom themselves do not realize how good the rapping is. And I'm sitting there alone and the fandom will go, one day Jongsub will be the biggest rapper in K-pop. And I'm like, one day? Right now? Hype him up as the best rapper in K-pop right now. Like, there's an argument to be made that Changbin's better than him. There's an argument to be made that Jisung's better than him. But hype him up right now. Who cares if somebody disagrees with you? And it's like, I just feel like it's like, why are you so addicted to... I get that you love their personalities. You love them for their TikToks and you listen to their music on the side. Put their music first. Put their music first. Make them bigger because their music should be first. And that is the one thing that keeps me from pitting them. Like, I want to put them up here, and I maybe should, but man, it's like this awkward thing where I just feel like I hype this group up more than the fandom does, and it annoys me. And I'm just like, where are the rest of the P1 Harmony fans? Why are you not hyping this kid Jongsub and even Intalk recently up as much? Like, I will make a video on Changbin, right? And I'll make a video on Changbin and Stray Kids and be like, this rapper did blah 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 blah. And it's just like, holy shit, Changbin's so good. I'll make a video on Jongsub about how he did blah, 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 blah. Nobody cares. And then I'll make a video about, haha, that boy from P1 Harmony said my root came from 2005. And then everyone's like, haha, I love that kid. He's going to be such a good rapper one day. And I'm like, well, why aren't you looking at the technical videos about how freaking good the kid is? I don't get it. So that is the one thing that would make me put them down here. Fucking hype your group up more. It's like the opposite problem. It's like, freaking, who was it? Orbits. Hyping Luna up, like, to the point where it's annoying. Yeah, Peace. Can you hype P1 Harmony up more? I guess mainly just in my comments. Like, where the fuck are you guys? I'm doing everything I can to make videos about how insane the rapping is, and I never see Peace anywhere. And it was like, what the hell? And then I made a video ranking them, and, you know, somebody in the comments was like, bro, you're tasteless because you don't like Jump. And I'm just like, what the hell are you talking about? Okay. Anyway, hype your group up more, Peace. I almost put you down here because you guys don't hype the group up enough. It's so weird. But I'll put him up at the top. Oh, Plory. Who's Plory? Who's Plory? Who is this? Who is this? Who is this? I should know who this is. Ah, Purple Kiss. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Napov. Purple Kiss. I'm going to make a comparison. You need to watch the Mamamoo section of this video to get the comparison. Purple Kiss are the Mamamoo fandom to me before Mamamoo blew up in popularity. I think it's as easy as that. I haven't really had negative experiences with them. when Purple Kiss do good stuff, they hype them up. And even when I say like specifically rap, Yuki hasn't been as good as she was during debut years. They agree. They're like, yeah, she hasn't been writing. That's because of blah 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 blah. She's been in, LZ7 Up, blah 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 blah, and they just understand. And it's like, yeah, I've never really had a problem with them. They're a very talented group. They get the rightful hype that they deserve. When I critique the group, I'm not met with a shit ton of backlash. Amazing in my eyes. Bawish. This is the band Quir, right? No interactions. I've really not met any Quir fans. In my comments at least. So I'll put them in no interactions. They're fine. I haven't talked about them enough to get interactions from Quir fans, I guess. So we'll put Quir in no interactions neutral. Reveloves. Ooh, okay. We're gonna get some spicy ones again before the end of this video. Revelove is an interesting one for me. I need to separate the group and the fandom, because group wise, I adore Red Velvet's music. Fandom wise, I kind of think Reveloves are a bit full of themselves in terms of fandoms from what I've experienced. Yeah. I've had Reveloves in my comments trying to tell me Irene is the best rapper ever and get mad when I say she's not. I've had Reveloves, there's a lot of really good Red Velvet music, right? But obviously it's very diverse. I do not like all of it. So when I'm like, yeah, what's it called? What's that song I don't like called? Feel My Rhythm, not my favorite Red Velvet song. How dare you? Yeah. I think we'll put him in slightly annoying. Yeah. You sure? Or what if they're not just joking? I've seen some serious people try to tell me Irene is like better than any other female rapper that doesn't write or something. They're not toxic. Like I've experienced, like to be completely straightforward, none of these groups here, none of these fandoms I would be like are toxic. The only two so far that I'm genuinely like toxic. Army, I get literal hate comments from. Blinks, I've got literal death threats from. They are like the tier of their own right here for right now. Maybe some other group will join them, but slightly annoying. I don't think the Reveloves are toxic, but so the other point, it's like they're a bit unreasonable at times, but. It is what it is. To be fair, Feel My Rhythm is peak. To be fair, I do not like Feel My Rhythm. Bad Boy, Really Bad Boy, Psycho, Dum Dum. Honestly, even Queendom and Birthday. Red Flavor. Rookie. I'd listen to all of those before Feel My Rhythm. Ice Cream Cake. I think the only ones I would listen to Feel My Rhythm before are... I don't know. We're not getting into a Red Velvet video. You can go watch my Red Velvet song ranking. That's the first one I ever did, by the way. Anyway, Breeze, Rise. We're going to put them in neutral / no reactions. I literally have not really interacted with this fandom at all since they've existed. But again, they are still young. There's a very real chance I'll make a video on Rise's rapper someday, and it'll be a bunch of positivity or just people giving me death threats. Who knows? But, yeah. Carrots. Carrots, I'll put in... They're not toxic. They're not really even annoying. I'm going to put Carrot in neutral. I've, again, from a rap perspective, since that is my main channel the past few years, a lot of carrots don't understand that, I'm basing a lot of rap rankings off of recency, and, the rapping 2017 did in 2015 is not what they're doing in 2024. And that's a big, divider in terms of when I'm talking about their rapping. But for the most part, the fandom is generally chill. I do agree on that in my experiences with them. Yeah. In my experiences with carrots, I don't really have that much bad beyond the rapping. I guess like you could put them in pretty good then. I've heard horror stories about carrots and fighting other fandoms, but I haven't experienced it in my comment section too much. The worst things that I've experienced with carrots is just them not agreeing that their rappers are not where they were in 2015. And that's fine because, it's just their music hasn't gone in that direction, and that's just normal. But yeah, I'll put them up pretty good. I think that's fair. Showels. Okay. I need to get real for a second. There's two different showels in my mind. Okay. There is the SHINee loyalist that not only is still a SHINee fan to this day, and we'll talk about SHINee to this day about how amazing they are, but they were a SHINee fan back in 2013, 2012, they were a SHINee fan at the start as well. They are great. They support these boys. I hear nothing but good things from them in my interactions with them. I am not the biggest SHINee fan in the world. I like a handful of SHINee songs at most, and I am not the biggest in terms of rap. I will tell you, Minno's chill solos are much better than his rapping in SHINee. He's not the strongest rapper in the world. And even when I say all of that, they are still really sweet and really chill. And I respect the fuck out of them. And that gets them up here. However, I don't know if I'm the only one that experienced this, but there is another type of shovel too. The ones that suddenly came out in 2017 that, oh my God, I'm such a big SHINee fan and I'm suddenly so sad. Like, what? I never heard you talk about SHINee until today. And, that tainted my view on a lot of showels so much. Those aren't even showels, but they call themselves showels. It's like, that's why I said there's two different types, right? That's why I'm saying there's two different types. There's the actual ones, but the ones that say they are. And I'm just like, how come I never heard you talk about SHINee until the end of 2017, huh? And I don't know. I don't know if it was just me who experienced that. And maybe because I had a lot of people reach out to me during that time, because they were very sad and stuff, right? I don't know why does that matter? Because you don't support the group, but then suddenly, oh my God, I'm a showl. Like, when it suddenly benefits you at the hurt of somebody else, that you're suddenly a showl. Like, it tainted the view of the fandom in my mind. It's like there's a bunch of good showels, don't get me wrong. I'm going to put them up here and just base it purely off this. But it tainted my view of the fandom when there's a bunch of people that never talk, never support, never mention SHINee as a group. And suddenly, I was such a big fan to get sympathy. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there were some people that were huge fans that never talked about it, but it really tainted my view of a lot of the people in the fandom. That it's like you're not going to talk about the group until it. Suddenly, no, it's personal. Like I had people that literally never talked about SHINee talk to me about how much they were hurt, and I'm just like, I've talked to you for 2 years and you've never mentioned Shiny to me before? You never mentioned Shiny, but you're suddenly a Showl after like a year, 2 years? Okay. They aren't fans, they just want attention. Exactly, but they are portraying themselves as the fans. Again, I'm leaving them up here for that one, like the actual fan I'm talking about. I just need to note that, you know, there is like that second part that's in my head now of people that literally never talked about them and then literally suddenly became fans. I'm just like, okay. I discovered Kara because of really Zakine? I'm kind of surprised by that. You're such like a girl group stan that you discovered the entire group because of her passing. Anyway, who's Swith? Stacy. Why did I not know their fandom? I think they get pretty good. Every time I interact with a Stacy fan, it's not like you can't name 5 Stacy songs. That's on you, Napov. I don't know what to tell you. But in general, Stacy fans, they're fine. They love their group. They love, you know, the silliness that Stacy sometimes does in their songs, like Icy Cheek thing. Was that what that was called? Like, and they'll hype it up, and you know, maybe a little more than they should sometimes. But in general, pretty good fandom. I've never had a problem with like a big problem with Swith at all. Stay. Hello, welcome to the most replayed part of the video. This is Matt, and I'm going to replay the intro because I'm sure 90% of the people have just skipped to this part. Okay, so Stay I'm very grateful for, especially in the early years. I latched on to Stray Kids, and I was like very much like, oh my god, you know. And I had a lot of Stay support in the early years. A lot of Stay were super sweet, very passionate when I was showing my friends and getting them into Stray Kids. And then throughout the years, like they've blown up so many of my videos talking about Changbin's fastest raps. One of the most viewed videos of my channel, got me so many subscribers, in Stay especially. Stray Kids fans watching just a lot of the other rap content and, you know, wanting to branch out from just Stray Kids fans in general to be more just enjoying rap and K-pop. And so many of the Stray Kids fans that liked the rap side of Stray Kids were open to hearing about me talking about the other groups that have cool fans. Like, I think there's like quite a few that when I talked about Hanze of Victon, they were like, oh shit, he's a cool rapper. Sadly, that is not my only experience with Stay. And I wish it was, because they would be top of amazing fandom. If I was ordering these left to right, they would be up here, and I would be eternally grateful for them. However, with all good things come the bad apples. And oh boy, there are a lot of bad Stays. Now, where did the Stays come from? I don't know. I feel like it came from an after 2020, you know, with all the COVID stuff and with all the fandoms coming in and, you know, coming from ARMY when BTS was starting to, you know, wind down a bit before their service years. A lot of new Stay came in 2020, 2021. And suddenly, I'm a Changbin anti because I say Changbin has never rapped 11.13 syllables per second. And as recent as yesterday, I literally have people saying I am a Changbin hater. I am just trying to get Changbin more antis. That is the point of my channel. Oh, I am a horrible stay because I do not eternally support the boys. I have no right to make videos on Stray Kids because I have so many comments of people trying to tell me what I am. Because I just keep it real and been talking about Stray Kids in general. So sadly, I cannot keep them up in this top tier because of that. I have had so many negative interactions of Stray Kids fans being toxic as hell, even to me. When I have so many videos, quote unquote, defending Changbin, and 3 years later, I will have a stay saying I am a Changbin anti because I say he hasn't rapped 11.13 syllables per second. I've had multiple stays and comments that will tell me, that I shouldn't make videos on the group because I don't just purely hype them up, and I'm not welcome to make videos on the group and stuff like that. But there's, again, it's a give and take. And it's how much of the negativity toxic side represents my view of the fandom. And it's a lot. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, there are so many, in the same way, if you go back and watch my segment on ARMY or Blink, right? I mentioned how I had points in both of these fandoms where they were supporting the hell out of my channel. And to this day, both of these groups have faded away. If I make a video on Jenny right now that isn't a clickbaity Jenny's fastest rap type thing, if I just make Jenny did this in her newest rap, it'll get a couple thousand views. But if I do Han rapped a double quintuplet, boo, 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 boo. Even though there's an extremely amount of toxicity that comes out of Stay, they are still supporting my channel, the good ones, as I said, and they're thus gets them to neutral. I've had even though I've had a bunch of amazing numerical support on the statistical analytical side of my channel from Stay and sharing my content and making me kind of a face of Changbin's the best rapper type videos, right? At the same time, so many people call me an anti, and I'm just like, what the fuck you want from me? If you want me to be credible when I'm hyping Changbin up for something he does cool, you gotta let me keep it real when he isn't actually rapping 11.13 syllables per second, or if his rap is actually very tame and straightforward. You gotta, in order for the high points to really hit from me, you gotta let me also talk about the low points and how, it may be weaker here, so that when it does happen high again, it really hits, and that I am truly authentically talking about how good it does, right? So at the end of the day, I gotta put them in the middle here at neutral. I've had so many positive experiences and so many fans that just do not understand that concept that I don't have to talk about Stray Kids in a 100% positive light 24/7 to still adore them. So I think that gets them in this neutral middle rank. It goes both ways, and I still have had far more positive interactions, but I've had far more positive interactions with Blink and ARMY and Mize and Forevers. All of these have had more positive interactions than negative of. But the negatives are the ones as a content creator that truly stand out. Because I think it was some saying it's one negative comment from somebody is equivalent to 100 positive comments. Saying nice things, it's it sticks in your head and everything, but then you'll forget about it. It's the negative stuff is what really punches you. And yeah. So we'll put them in neutral. Few more. We have the boys. I think the boys are a pretty simple, pretty good. I've had a few negative in terms especially of the discrepancy between Sunu and Eric. Eric's so much lower when I talk about the rapping. And then I've had a very polarizing relationship with their music to where, I'll have some comebacks, I'm just oh my God. And some comebacks, I'm And then thus, you get like, when I'm hyping them up, oh my god, and when I'm not hyping them up, it's more on the negative side. So I'll put them in pretty good. I don't think in general I've had any super overwhelmingly negative experience. It's just every once in a while, they'll disagree that Sunwoo. For the record, Sunwoo, even though they're about to have a really cool comeback and have some really cool sounding raps from Sunwoo, he didn't self-write them, and it annoys the fuck out of me, and I'm not going to be able to make a video on how cool the rapping is because Sunwoo didn't self-write when he used to, and I don't know what happened, and I don't know why he stopped self-writing. Anyway. They're pretty good. They'll be been pretty good for me. I haven't really had too many negative experiences with them. Wave. This is Triple S, right? Negative neutral. Mainly for the fact it's the same as Stray Kids, but in a much lesser scale. Like Stray Kids I've had way more interactions with. Triple S fans, Wave, I've had way less interactions with, but they still kind of end up being 50-50 in my head of positive and negative. I've had somebody got really, really, really upset with me because look at the chat. I'll put example one up here. I put their name in a video like this. And I had somebody that was really upset that I spelt their name like that. Like, really upset. Because apparently, the actual way that you have to spell their name is this. And it left such a bad impression on me. I'm like, you're going to leave this long and emotional of a comment because I capitalized the first letter of their name. I capitalized the S part of Triple S, by the way. It's not that it looks like triples. It was triple with a capital S. Sorry, that was me. Just, yeah, sure, growing up. And I know it sounds like a little thing, right? But I haven't had that much interaction with them because they don't rap that much, right? Even though they did have that whole rap song a couple months ago, but still, I haven't had so much interaction where I have a bunch of positive thoughts on them, right? So I have had a few because I have a few very passionate Triple S fans in the Discord server and everything. So I had my fair share of good moments, but that just sticks in my head. I guess it's just let's be mindful of how you portray something. I get the sentiment of technically the way you're supposed to spell their name is lowercase with just a capital S. But oh my god, I don't know. I can't recall how they put it. I can't recall why they put it that way and how they expressed it, but it was not in the best light for me. So it lives on in my head. I'm sure they'll go up in time as I get more and more better interactions with them. But for right now, they're going to neutral. Not good, not bad, in the middle. And hopefully they grow from there. Once! Oh my god, this is probably the last super controversial one probably. Once is... are slightly annoying. I would put, if there was a tier between slightly annoying and mainly toxic, I would put them there. But I can't, obviously I have not had the negativity that Blinks and Armies have given me as a channel from Onces. I've had a bunch of negativity from them. Chaeyoung fans that are completely passionate that she's actually the fastest rapper in K-pop. A lot of this has to do with statistical speed and people just getting wrong information, surprisingly. A lot of people that just think that I should be, talking about them more because they're the biggest girl group. Yeah. And then not too many, I don't just really make videos on Twice just in general because I'm a rap heavy channel now. So yeah, they go slightly annoying because of that. And whenever I think about Onces, I do have a slight distaste in my mouth from the more negative side of things. I wish there was more I could pinpoint and bring up specific examples, but we are how long into this video? 2 hours into this pushing. So I'm a bit drained from trying to recall all these things. But yeah. We'll have ones down here. Again, there aren't to the toxic levels that I've experienced with Blink and Army, but we'll have them in slightly annoying. MOA will also be slightly annoying. For the most part, TXT fans pretty much chill. And then the big things that stand out to me are the discrepancies with Yeonjun and people telling me that I just don't understand rap because Yeonjun's actually the best rapper. And then also the fact that, I like one specific era of TXT, and then I also don't like Cat and Dog. And, yeah. So most of the experience I have with MOAs on my YouTube channel and TikTok and Twitter and all that, it gets slightly annoying. So we'll have them down here as well. Daily, which is weekly, pretty good. I have no really yeah, you know what? I'll keep them pretty good. I don't daily or morning, please give us some love, please. They'll go pretty good. I think that's fine. We don't claim Delgado. Okay, fair. And then two more. We have ZB1 and then who's WoW? 24555. 5 girl group. WoW. Let's do ZB1. You guys tell me who WoW is. ZB1. I haven't had anything bad from ZB1 really. Besides growing up yelling Ricky at me the entire time. I think ZB1 in general is fine. Again, the worst thing is people telling me throughout the past year and a half that Gunuk is the best 5th gen rapper, and I'm just like, where? And then there's just like one variety show that he did self-written rap on that you can't find anywhere else. And then it's like, that's why he's the best. And I'm just like, okay, what else is... No, it's that. That's why he's the best. And luckily, he's done some more stuff to kind of back that up a bit in this year with Backpacker and Placebo. But in general, yeah. It is a little annoying in my comments when people are like pushing ZB1 as the group of 5th gen and stuff. And I'm just like, okay. I'm going to have them in neutral. Neutral, teetering on no interaction. It's still really new. And not too many, like I don't have any standout positive experiences with ZB1 fans. And, I get that person up there shouting at me saying Ricky and making Ricky the background of my desktop 24/7. And that's slightly annoying. So that balances it out. I'm kidding, by the way. It's mainly the lack of interactions. The little interactions I have are people hyping up Gunuk more than he probably should be at this point, and people hyping up the group like they are the next coming of Big Bang. And I'm just like, I don't understand, but okay. I haven't really had any I haven't had anything mean thrown my way at this point. I haven't had anything like super blown up. I did have one super sweet ZB1 fan, try to get support on a video of mine about Gunuk, which is really nice. And that's kind of what keeps them in neutral, especially, and not more far down. By the way, I'm kidding about growing up saying Ricky best rapper. It's just a fun stream joke. I don't actually make me annoyed. But I'll keep them. It's mainly for the little interactions, leaning on the pretty good side. And then finally, UA's fandom, literally no interaction. I don't think I've ever interacted with an UA fan. I don't know why. I guess maybe the videos like that. I just literally never really come across them in my YouTube comment section. So we'll put them in there. And that kind of finishes it off the tier list here. I wish there was more I could say on Wu. I just literally don't interact with them. So here's the final tier list and what it kind of looks like. Having amazing interactions with these ones with very little negativity to say about them and having them being negative in my comments. Pretty good. These fandoms, I, in general, have a very good impression of. However, I, of course, have one or two things that kind of pull me away from it a bit. But in general, I'm fine with them and seeing them in comments in my videos. I personally haven't been too bothered by them. Neutral, either, for the most part neutral. For the 90% of this, is a balance between good and evil. I've had just as much of a negative impression as I've had a positive impression. It goes both ways. Some trending upwards, like a Tinny and Answer and Wave, and some trending downward, like Stay and Neverland. Hopefully that trend downward stops. But then also the lower end of no interaction being these 5 mainly. I just haven't had too much interaction with to really say. And then finally, we have Slightly Annoying. I just have more of a negative impression of these fandoms in my comments than I do positive. And Toxic. Death threats and literal hate comments on multiple videos of me just not liking a song. Oh, those are the main reasons. And then nothing in Delete them because I don't like, even the worst fandoms here, it's like they still did positive things for me in terms of analytics and support over the years. So in general, I still would not delete them as fandoms, but I've had my fair share of negative experiences. So no one in Delete them, but yeah, this is kind of how I would rank fandoms based on my own personal experiences in my YouTube community, in my YouTube comments, in my TikToks comments, in my Twitter engagements, all of these. This is kind of how it shapes up. Again, this is not the broad sense of the fandom and their interactions with other fandoms, but how I've personally experienced the fandoms. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. If you have any questions, tell me in the comments. If you have any, what's it called? Rankings of your own, please tell me in the comments as well. And shout out to all of my amazing Patreons that are not scrolling on the screen right now because I'm recording this live on Twitch. So shout out to all the amazing subs that have this cool little light stick next to their name because they are subscribing to the Twitch channel. Not Naomi, but Glitch. See what Glitch has right there. Shout out Glitch. Anyway. I just threw Naomi under the bus. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it, y'all. Come join us on Twitch if you want to see stuff like this in the future. All the information and stuff is in the pinned comments, and I'll see you all in the next one. See you later, everybody.